All right, when we see it, you see it here on CBS News 24/7 and breaking news at that. We're learning more about the call between President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, all in pursuit of a ceasefire. So we're getting this from Donald Trump's social media post. Just moments ago, he calls the meeting very good, says negotiations are very much on track. Keep in mind, this is the first conversation Zelensky and Trump have had since that off-the-rails meeting at the White House. A lot to break down here at this hour. Nina Khrushcheva, she's a professor of international affairs at the New School. You're joining us now, and we thank you for it, Nina. So what are your thoughts on Trump's talks with Zelensky? It sounds like Mr. Zelensky wants to really hold a firm line that he is concerned about security concerns.
Well, I see what you see. I don't know what the exact conversation with Vladimir Zelensky entailed, and it was interesting, very similar to the readout from or Trump's reaction to the conversation with Putin yesterday. Both the reactions are quite subdued. They're saying it was very good, we're moving forward, and our teams are going to be kind of telling you more about it. So clearly, Donald Trump is finally getting to the point that he understands this is not a 24-hour war, 24-hour resolution kind of war. This is just not going to happen that fast. But it does seem to be on track, whatever that track is. It does seem to be, at least it's not a breaking down of potential negotiations. And I think that's what Trump seems to be valuing, because, of course, his nature is to say, oh, I've achieved everything in 5 seconds, everything is great, and now there's peace and I deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. But at least he seems to be pushing towards that goal. And I think that is a good news, that it's not a breaking down. They seem to be trying to at least put the two sides closer than they've been in the last 3 or even more years.
And yet we have the headline that overnight there were attacks, Russia to Ukraine, Ukraine to Russia. We had that fiery video a little bit earlier in the show. Do events like that cause these conversations to be more tense or more immediate in goal setting?
Well, both, I think, and more tense and more immediate, because Ukraine attacked the whatever it is, the oil something station in the Kuban region of Russia, and the Russians I think in Slavyansk. So yes, it is because technically they've agreed, or at least Putin agreed and actually gave an order to stop attacking, but then says, well, we cannot trust Ukrainians, so we're actually going to continue until it is set in stone. So it is both immediate and also probably make it harder, because both sides say we cannot trust each other. And that's why Trump's job, whether he understands it or not, is going to be infinitely more difficult, or is very difficult, precisely because neither side can take the other word into account, actually, and for good reason, especially Zelensky with Putin. So America has to act as a mediator. On one hand, it's promising news. On the other hand, how, if you act as a mediator, how in fact you're going to put these two people, two countries at the negotiation table, if they're unwilling to even accept that they could be potentially some agreement.
Right. And then the long term, if you insert yourself into any mediation, then the result, a month, 2 months, a year, 2 years down the road, also hangs on your legacy. You know, Zelensky has said, look, Russia has broken many agreements over the past several years. They do it every time. So thinking about it through that lens, what's the priority for the White House to make sure that these agreements are stuck to? Because it will be a sticking point on the legacy of the Trump White House if they do not.
Well, true, but I think Trump basically defines his own legacy. I mean, we can talk about it or how it looks in normal environment, but that's not a normal environment. It's a reality TV environment. So every new show, every new, not just series, but every new episode is a new thing. So, you know, I don't think he worries about that legacy. The legacy is what he presents it to be. And I thought in a conversation yesterday with Vladimir Putin was interesting that a lot of stress was made on bilateral relations, on the future of U.S.-Russian relations, on the economic potential in their mutual projects that they can have economically. So in some ways, Ukraine was just one of the conversation. Of course, it was about Ukraine, but generally, if Russian relations with America or American relations with Russia move forward, Ukraine, in fact, can be even taken out of this relation. So they build their relationship, they deal. I mean, Iran was mentioned, which was interesting. So Russia probably promised not to become over friendly with Iran, and in fact, even help America with with the nuclear problems that it has with nuclear program in Iran and whatnot. So Putin seems to have said, "Well, we're going to give up Iran if you really need to, if it needs to." So Ukraine can become a sideline of this relationship, and so then Donald Trump wouldn't worry about that because he would say, "Well, Ukraine didn't work out, but look, I have my Trump Tower right next to the Red Square." And I think this is something that for him is probably more important than other negotiations. Although, of course, Nobel Peace Prize over peace agreement between Ukraine and Russia would look great on his resume. But Trump Tower in the center of Moscow, not a bad thing either.
Fascinating. Well, Donald Trump sees this as a card game. He himself said to Mr. Zelensky, "You don't have the cards." Nina, that's why these conversations are so important, so we can try to look over their shoulders and see what cards they have and try to glean what plays they will make. Thank you so much for this conversation. I hope to have you back here on CBS News 24/7.